Hey guys, this is Tarkin coming at you with another game of Minecraft. I mean, it's really just wheat, right? That's all that you're gonna get. That's all you're here for, I hope. For that is what is on the menu. Wheat today, wheat tomorrow. Wheat forever. But enough talking about it. Let's be about it. And let's just get some wheat. Let's get some wheat going on. Let's go over here. This is a good place to plant wheat. You can tell by the way it is. Absolutely ideal. This is an ideal place. The place is ideal. Just a little White Christmas reference. Y'all know I love doing White Christmas references. All day long, whenever I was not planting wheat, I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be better if you were planting wheat right now? And of course, for wheat, read anything. Hey Sid, I'm alright. How are you? I'm just glad to be home. If the stream ends very abruptly, there is a rather violent thunderstorm going on outside. Very intense. It's made me jump out of my skin a couple of times. I can feel the thunder roll through the floor occasionally, you know. But I like thunderstorms as long as they don't drop trees, you know, on my power lines or house. Which, you know, they did drop a tree limb on a power line just a couple storms ago. But we're gonna hopefully avoid that today. So Sid, have you seen the wheat field in a while? Angelo, hello. How are you, good sir? It's so good to see you. Hope you've been well. Well, you know, why not take a quick little tour, right? So you'd be familiar with the story of the field. Current iteration, we're over here on the other side of the mountain of wheat, you know, because, well, because we got kind of far enough on this other spur, which we'll show you here. What's the 430 negative 340? I'm like, it takes a little while to fly, but you know it's worth it. Because of course we got to cover up this whole savanna biome here to continue on our entirely reasonable and totally normal behavior. Because you know how this is like the original wheat field. You'd be familiar here with, you know, the house where the cats live and stuff, and our picture of Marcus Aurelius, you know, just like everywhere. But then, you know, we started on this spur over here. We left the riverfront forest there for the Village of Scholars, and then, yeah, you know, we just we carried on in this direction, and you know, we kept on going. Unfortunately, you know, we're about to come to the end of it, but yeah, you know, look what a good job I did, right? But yeah, so we got it all the way. We got it all the way to here, right? And then, of course, we're eventually going to build the Temple of Wheat up there. But you know me, I'm bad at building and good at planting wheat. So we just zoomed on over to the other side. And I was like, you know what? Before we build the Temple of Wheat, we need to, you know, get the rest of the stuff on the other side of the mountain of wheat. He's asking a question about your name. You think Vampire's cool. So do I. There's one of my favorite bands whenever I was a teenager, and now I still love them. It's called Alkaline Trio, and there's this line in one of their songs where it's like, she said, maybe I'm a vampire. It's quite possible I feel truly dead inside. And I'm just like, yes, let me wear a shirt with your band name on it, with little tombstones. Let me wear a shirt with your band name on it with little skeletons. That's what I want. One of their albums is called Good Morning, but it's mourning like, you know, someone has died. That kind of mourning. You know, awesome stuff. One was called Maybe I'll Catch Fire. Anyway, I love Alkaline Trio. There's just 3 of them, you know, guitarist, bassist, drummer. If you haven't heard of them, that's normal. A lot of people wouldn't have, but Matt Skiba ended up being in Blink-182 for a while, because Tom, one of the frontman, the guitarist for Blink-182, stopped being in the band for a bit to pursue his research into extraterrestrial life. It sounds like I'm making that up. This is all real. This is all real. So that's where Tom was at, and so they needed a guy, and then this dude in Alkaline Trio took up. Yeah, they were on Vagrant Records, and I first got into them. It would have been probably like '01, but they had a good long, like, several album run of like what I thought was really cool sounding stuff. And they definitely, like, musically progressed a lot as time went on, you know, and they weren't so, like, stripped down and, like, sort of punk. But, you know, they say bad words, and it's all dark and gritty, and they talk about, you know, coffins and driving fast and, you know, all that stuff. I love Alkaline Trio. I think they're very cool. There's a brilliant meme metal band called Massacration. One of their most popular songs is about a parrot wanting cookies. Well, you know, a bird wanting something can be a powerful metaphor for a person wanting something, right? No small number of tragedy has ensued from the consequences of a bird's desire, after all. There's a very excellent and super famous novel by Gabriel Garcia Marquez called Love in the Time of Cholera, and at the beginning of it, spoilers for a book that, you know, the guy won a Nobel Prize with, but he the character that you meet at the beginning, this doctor, his pet bird, like, goes up and, like, into, like, a tree on his house grounds, and then he's trying to get the bird down. He slips off the ladder and falls, and that's sort of, like, sets the stage for the action that you get in Love at the Time of the Cholera, which is a wonderful book. Gabriel Garcia Marquez is, you know, a titan of world literature. Like I said, they gave him the Nobel Prize. It's not just me that thinks he's pretty good. They don't give it to everybody. You know, I know Bob Dylan has one. That's cool too. But, you know, they don't give it to everybody. I don't have one. But, you know, Jorge Luis Borges, who I'm always talking about, the great Argentine writer, that we named the librarian for in the hardcore world because he's the best librarian ever. So Borges, he did not get a Nobel Prize. And once someone asked him about it, and in, like, an interview, and he gave the most wonderful response ever. He was like, not awarding me the Nobel Prize in Literature has become a Scandinavian tradition. Since I have been born, they have not been giving it to me. And I think that's, like, a super awesome way of talking about it. Yes, I probably am always talking about him. No, my affection for Borges and for Garcia Marquez is basically as high as my affection for any author in world literature since, you know, like post World War II. Like, I like them every bit as much as I like everyone. I think they are like pound per pound contenders for the best people that wrote books in that time period. And I don't care who hears me say it. The Nobel Prize Committee could have given Borges one. He deserved it. But, you know, there's a lot of people that are great writers that didn't get one. I'm so glad I discovered wheat. Because now I can do what I really want, which is plant wheat and talk about, you know, literature. That's the dream, right? Because all of this video game stuff, it's just a ploy to get people to let me occasionally talk about books I like. I'm like, have you heard an amusing historical vignette that would relate to this? Because, like, plenty of people have played Minecraft, but, you know, like, not everybody plays it, dies in hardcore, and then reads Shakespeare about it. It's probably not just a me thing, but it's such a very me thing, and I'm glad to be able to bring, you know, my personal flair to Let's Plays. Since you're not going to get, you know, like, writing or production value, the best you can hope for is an enthusiastically literate person planting wheat, and that is just what you'll have here. I'm so glad I discovered wheat. Some human Antarctic. Indeed, you know, it's wheat's good for me and everyone. Wheat, from whom the blessings flow. Human in prehistory, yeah. Well, as I was at work, whenever I was supposed to be working, I was just standing around. You know, it's an important part of the job to wait. I was thinking actually about a comment that a viewer left a few weeks ago. I was going to say the other day, but it was somewhat longer than that ago. But, nice fellow, they're around sometimes. But we were talking about biomes and stuff in Minecraft, and they were like, they're Saudi, and they said, I have never seen a forest. And, you know, like, so much of what we think of the universality of the human experience is actually not that universal, right? It can feel like it is. You know? Which is like an interesting thing about being alive, and also like a dangerous philosophical thing about it. It's very easy to believe things that are obviously untrue. Like, of course people know what trees are like. But of course I couldn't tell you the first thing about a proper desert. I've read a book about it. I've seen it on TV. I've even been to one in Minecraft. But I've never seen one. Which much sounds strange to a person who lives inside of one. Like telling a fish you've never seen water. So, like, to me, well, it's totally normal to die in hardcore and then make people listen to you read Hamlet, or to, like, do a raid in hardcore for the first time and read, like, read Shakespeare about it. Like, do the St. Crispin's Day speech. Oh, that was good. I was in fine form that day. I was about to have Sid, like, helping me invade France. It was great. You remember, Sid? Remember how I about had you picking up a spear and fighting for Britain? But I basically can't sit around and talk for a long time without talking about books anyway, so. Yep, it's one of the all-time great speeches. And I think I did alright. I got too excited, and I did it too fast, I know, but, you know, I think I did alright. We'll revisit it someday, maybe. I wanted to do Antony's speech in Julius Caesar, but it's like I just dislike Caesar so much, and I don't want to give a speech that's like he was good actually just because it's an awesome speech. Anyway, Shakespeare could really be a jerk by giving unsavory political and historical views like rosy brilliance in aesthetics. But, you know, let that be a lesson to us all. Just because Antony has a way better speech than Brutus doesn't mean Brutus was wrong, because he wasn't. Hello, Evan. Floats in that place in Europe that has no snakes. Ireland is famously snakeless. There's a myth about it, St. Patrick, but it is widely understood to maybe not be exactly literal. I'm not an expert on it. Yeah, there's so many unique places. I feel terrible. I always forget the name of your unique biome, Angelo, but I remember that you have those very beautiful pink trees and such, and it's much like a savanna. I could find it if I really looked in my head, probably, but I just don't really remember. But because I grew up with no houses between my house and the bayou, and there's plenty of people to whom even that lived up just 15 miles away from me, they're so far from the bayou they don't really know what it's like. They don't know what it was like to be a little kid and have water moccasins trying to get you, and knowing that they would actually put you in the ground, right? They don't know what it's like to see a cottonmouth whirling up a flooded ditch, and you still got to do your chores, right? That goat is not going to milk itself. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if there's a water moccasin. And that won't mean anything to you if you guys don't know water moccasins. So a water moccasin is a venomous snake. There are many colloquial names. I'll usually just call them moccasins or cottonmouth, but there's a lot of different names for them. Ipe, yeah. But they're very ill-tempered. They're semi-aquatic, right? And they are super, super fast when they're in the water, and they don't particularly like people, which is fine. I have killed many a water moccasin in my day. I didn't keep track. It's a lot. I'd be trying to get me too if I were them. But plenty of people that I went to school with have just zero concept of needing to protect yourself. I'm no, you have to worry about the snakes. You gotta look down, man. They do this thing, so they get their name Cottonmouth because the inside of their mouth is this brilliant, terrifying, white, and when they open their mouth at you, pretend my hand is the mouth of a snake. It's just all white in there. Pretend my white hand is white, and now I've perfectly demonstrated what it's like. And anyway, it's pretty scary. They're pretty hardcore. I know most people don't like snakes. I like them. I just don't like the venomous ones. I mean, I'm happy they exist, nature's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. But they do frighten me, and they always have. I've never been, brave around a water moccasin. They got this, just when you see them, you just, I think without even being told, you feel primally oh man, this is bad, this is a bad idea, and I no longer want to be right here. It's it's right there as soon as they do the but they're fascinating, and if people didn't live so close to them, then they wouldn't cause very many problems. Oh, I've got a lot of water moccasin stories. Sometimes you just gotta back away, right? But I want to get a snake. I want a ball python. I want one. I've always wanted one. I've wanted one for ages. But I hate doing chores, right? And you have to take care of your pets. You have to. And there's a dog, but he's not my dog. He's my brother's dog. I'll take him out or whatever. But fundamentally, that dog is always going to be fine. But if I got a snake, then I'll have to, like, really think about it all the time. I'll have to be like, oh, it's time for me to go get, you know, a slightly warm mouse or whatever it is that they eat. But, you know, like, and there were Copperhead too, which Copperhead, they, you know, they're venomous, but they don't. Look, if you've met a water moccasin and you've met a Copperhead, you don't have to have the difference explained to you. One of them makes you feel like, oh man, I gotta get out of here. The other one's like, huh, this is just a snake. Which, I mean, that's dangerous too. But, because there's only really 3 where I'm from. And then there's rattlers, which I have seen rattlers in the wild, but not where I lived. You had to, like, find them hiking or whatever. Got stung by a scorpion? Oh no. You say it wasn't so bad. Yeah, I have seen a few scorpions, but I've never been gotten by one. But growing up, I was in the Boy Scouts and stuff, and then, like, also my family would frequently go hiking, so I've seen, you know, almost every animal that lives in Arkansas out wherever it lives in Arkansas. You say he still wastes his time with the doctor, though, who doesn't hate you. In my experience, you know, all people are different, but I do know a fair amount of doctors. I used to date someone who's a doctor. I knew a bunch of other people in the profession through that. But they usually get mad when people don't show up, rather than being upset when people, like, are like, you know, hey, I got a weird animal bite or whatever. They usually prefer that to someone just, like, dealing with it for a bit. But everyone's different. I can't speak for them. And it's been, like, a super long time since we were together, so maybe she's tired of everybody's nonsense now and no longer cares. But I doubt it. I'm sure she's a very caring physician. You see lots of snakes in Freaks. I wonder if it's a rattlesnake. You can almost always tell. Not from the rattling, but just because, like, you know, most snakes that you see for any period of time, you know, you can see the tail. And rattlers are, you know, all snakes are different, but they tend to want to be where they're at. They don't tend to, like, accidentally be somewhere that you're at. But especially if you're hiking, though, you know, there's a nice rock in the shade or something, that can get a little sketchy. But at least they threaten you without opening their mouth like this. That's gonna be my new thing now. We're just gonna occasionally jump scare the camera with our hand outstretched. I wonder, speaking of my hands, so if I go to get, like, my palm read by somebody, which I've never done, now I've got, like, scars from my surgeries. Are they gonna pick up on that? Or are they gonna be like, this line means this? And I'll be like, that was my carpal tunnel surgery and I would like my money back. You're not even a real rabbit. And I'll pull their mask off, revealing a human person. Angela, you said your internet was oscillating wildly, swaying to and fro like a gyroscope. We were just riffing a little bit, just talking about snakes. There's of course a wonderful film called Snakes on a Plane. I think it's famous. Samuel L. Jackson starred. My friends and I saw it in the theater. It was a magical experience. And like, I wish my online persona like spoke how I do in real life, and I could just drop the F-bombs, but I do try to act right. Otherwise, my sisters won't let their kids watch my channel. I'm only joking. I don't care. It's more of a personal thing. Angela, you say our American medical bill is wild as people say on the internet? Yeah. Yeah, without asking any qualifying questions, yes, they are. They might even be worse than you comprehend. It's absolutely nuts. If it weren't true, it would sound like people were making it up. There's basically no excessive way to describe it that won't fall short in some way to the reality of it. People will regularly be charged more than they make in months and months, or perhaps years, for medical treatment, for things, with the expectation that, you know, maybe you won't pay it, who cares? Anyway, it's a total mess. Yeah, like Sid's saying, like 15K for an ER, yeah, like, you can go to the ER with, like, normal insurance, and then they will try to give you a bill for, like, $3,000 sometimes. That's not, like, with great insurance, and then you're like, wait, do I have to pay this? And they're like, oh, no, not really, you know, if you go and fill out, like, 19 forms and talk to, like, 104 people in this office here at the hospital, we'll cut, like, 80% of the bill down. If you've ever heard me talk about how I hate filling out forms and would only do it if it's absolutely necessary, most of that is navigating the American healthcare system. It's deeply frustrating, it's incredibly expensive, and no one is trying to make it not difficult or not expensive. Like, you're trying to get better, and you're the product. You're trying to get better, and they are advertising stuff to you in the waiting room while you fill out the same form 100 times. Trying to convince them that you actually don't have a lot of money, so that you would qualify for their, I don't have a lot of money, I don't have to give you $3,000, $500 is more reasonable plan. For example. But yeah, I mean, if you, like, so what's a thing that doesn't happen very often? Children being born. It would cost you, like, probably more than I make in a whole year to have a kid in an American hospital type of thing. That's, like, and I have a job, it's not a good job, it's a job. I pay my rent. But, like, yeah, it's, I don't know how anyone does anything. When I got my hands done, it maxed out my contribution to my insurance. So, what I paid for those surgeries was, $2,800. Which, I think the total cost theoretically would have been like 22 or 24, something like that. But a whole bunch of it got hand waved away, and a whole bunch of it my insurance paid. But you know, I pay thousands of dollars a year in insurance anyway. Sorry, I'm all this adult stuff. We're supposed to just be talking about wheat, but you did ask, so you know I am going to answer you. But I know you probably didn't expect a huge speech about it. Hello, Crumble. But yeah, it's rough. It's very rough. It's a hard knock life. Yeah, you and have a 3 therapist. That's awesome. That is good for you. That is just the sort of thing that we don't have here. Hi, Natasha. We were talking about the American healthcare system and how it's not very good, but it's almost all over now. You're lucky. Crazy Bee Farm. Oh, Crumble. Let me just show you something then. we're gonna get right back down. We got to get some more wheat. But anyway, so it goes on and it goes on. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show you that it's a little more than you can see from right there. But yeah, it's a little bit more in both of those directions. I'm a totally normal person. I'm surprised you didn't notice. But anyway, we just need some more seeds, right? So that's what we're doing now. But yeah, but like for my hands, I was essentially unable to work. It was super bad. Like whenever I went into the doctor about it, because I'm awful and I wasn't, I rarely go anyway. As we've discussed how the system is, set up to provide obstacles to people, especially people who have difficulties behaving normally, like me. But I couldn't really work, so the surgeries got like done pretty quick. But I mean, if I hadn't been able to have them done, I just like, I don't know what I would do. I couldn't do like anything. I mean, I was despairing, but everything's all better now. We're not reliving the emotions of that time. It'll make me all messed up. But like if I hadn't been able to get it, then just go sit in the gutter, I guess, and tell people about how the American healthcare system failed me. I mean, I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't joke like that, right? Because like that totally does happen. To people that they because of the bad way that it works, people do lose everything. So yeah, you can't plant wheat if you don't have a job. That's my motto. I mean, you can, but it's harder. Because it's like, they still don't work perfectly right, but I mean, it's just so much better than it used to be. It's a whole different experience having them back. And like, I don't get woken up at night from the pain anymore. It's really nice, when you have a chronic health problem, you don't often identify how much it weighs on you until it gets fixed. And of course, a lot of times stuff can't get fixed, which, I mean, there's plenty of stuff wrong with me that they didn't fix with a couple hand surgeries. Yes, well, whatever we change the subject to, it shouldn't be whatever humane conditions are for cows in Minecraft. I don't know if we'll qualify. We could hit some of them with a stick attached to a diamond sword, but I don't remember where the sword's at. And obviously we're not gonna, like, waste the looting. I mean, get real. It's never gonna happen. What if we ever build a library? We'll need all the leather. Angelo, you ask how many cows are there. Excellent question. 1,400, 1,500, something like that. There's 1,519 entities rendered in here, so probably just like 1,400 or so. Because of the Java to Bedrock conversion, there are no spawnable neutral mobs anywhere that I loaded in before the world got converted. So even with all these cows gone or whatever, like over by the village, they can't spawn there inside of the village. You know, you can bring them there and you can breed them and whatnot, but like how like a cow will sometimes pop up in the wheat field, that's how you know that that's a part of the map I had never been to. Yeah, the debug menu is just the greatest thing in the whole game. It's worth not being able to ever have a sheep or a wolf spawn here again. I don't even know. Like, what is this biome? This is a forest, yeah. Like, I don't know if wolves spawn in forests in Java or not, but we did have them in the Bedrock version. Which is why there's like a moat and stuff, and why we made the wall 2 panels big, because we used to have sheep in here a really long time ago. They're dying from overpopulation? No, they're only dying from overpopulation when I'm around with wheat, and that's making them cram in the block. Because there's like, you know, just under 1,600 cows here. You can get 32 entities in a block before they take cram. It's not... Yeah, we've had like 2,000 cows in here. I'm stuck. Escaping the cows. Anyway, so we can X-ray through here. So you see where they're bouncing up. This is a very old design. I didn't know anything. There's still some beetroot seeds in there from a really long time ago. There's this thing that we used to have wheat on that. We like had a raised platform, and then there's actually water in this little trench that goes all the way around. That's why they're bobbing. And I gave them little hay bales to eat, because like I said, it was a really long time ago. I didn't know anything. In my modern cow fields, they don't have a water thing. If it's like, you know, a roleplay setting, like for the cave pony, I need to get a name for the cave pony, you know. We're gonna just... I was like, we're gonna just drop it. No, there's leather. We can't just drop it. Look, if you're playing a game and they let you get boxes and throw random stuff in it, you have to do it. You have to. I don't make the rules. I merely enforce them. The mustache makes the rules. This very well-meaning person left a comment on one of my Mustache and Me videos, and they were like, "It's my mustache and I." And I was like, how can you not tell immediately that my way is better than that? You say, did I enjoy Undertale? Yeah, I thought Undertale was brilliant. In fact, you can try Deltarune for the same guy. Yeah, I saw that it had come out. I want to play Undertale again at least once before I go to the next one, because I know, like, I'm not 100% spoiled on it, but I know that the game, you know, the game remembers. Well, as the saying goes, you know, like, the axe remembers, the tree, no, the axe forgets, the tree remembers. However the saying is arrayed. But I wanted to check that out again, but I just always get distracted with stuff. Yeah, and if you did a little logo, it could be like 3 big M's forming like a mustache or something. I don't know. I haven't thought it through. But look, I'm not a good poet, but I am a bad poet. And as a bad poet, I do understand a good title. And My Mustache and Me is just so clearly better than My Mustache and I. It's clearly better. But I know that they were trying to be helpful. Still try the pacifist ending? Yeah, if I play again, I'm going to try that. We're even going to try to run away from that one guard person. Even though she should have just surrendered. It's not like I was going to hit her. And we accidentally, you know, like, we totally accidentally hit the goat lady at the beginning, the nice old lady, the old queen. Because it was like, you know, me being me, the only time in the whole fight that I did, like, the extra damage, you hit the button properly, was, like, when she was at her lowest. Yeah, I know. Exactly. You're like, oh, you're gonna mess with me? Well, me and my mustache are gonna show you. Which I think is a real thing someone has said, like, in an argument over a poker game. I sure am glad that I'll never have enough wheat. 'Cause after all, as the proverb goes, beyond mountains there are mountains. In Alpha's Lab, there's an instant noodle pack. It's one of the funniest healing items. Said, you say, what do I think Garuda's favorite color is? Like, probably, like blue or orange, like something like that. Like either like a sunset color or like the color of the clear blue sky, you know. Green, perhaps. Yeah, something like that, though. Like a vibrant, like, foundational color of existence. Not like black, like me. He wouldn't, like, that wouldn't be his favorite color. Because Garuda, of course, is like, you know, the mount of the god flying around, so like a very, very deep connection to the sky, particularly. Only currently masquerading as a chicken for benefit of the Minecraft populace. Because if y'all ever see me play, you know, like Shin Megami Tensei or Persona, which I don't even know if you can play those on the internet, they might come for you. I don't know how Atlas acts. I haven't looked it up. But Garuda is a character in those games. Not one that I like always run with. He's actually like not a character that I used for any extensive period of time in them. But now I would. You know, if I played him again, I would be like, hey, it's my boy. So you're probably saying, well, if not Garuda, then what is the character in Persona that connected with you the most? Well, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked it. So, it's a small cat dressed like a little samurai. And it's called Nico Shogun. And it's based on probably like a mistranslation. But yeah, it's a little cat who's got the get-up. He's got like a war fan. He's got his little armor on. And he's wonderful. And somewhere on this computer, maybe it's on my other computer, it's in some Discord channel probably, is a screenshot of me getting to level 99 with totally max stats on my Nico Shogun in Persona 5. Which is not necessary, but is awesome. You get him, like, pretty early in the game, and I spent the rest of the game making him the strongest little cat ever. You know, I guess everything in Minecraft is this kind of way, but it's so interesting because you can just start planting wheat and then before you know it, you've like changed the entire world. And now there's nothing left. No bugs, no trees, no leaves to blow in the wind, only wheat. Just wheat forever. An eternity of wheat. Ah, nice dream. Of course, only by planting individual blocks can we make the dream come true. Yes, cats are quite wonderful. Unfortunately, my brother is allergic. Or I would have to. And I bet y'all already know what I would name them. Just because I've had cats with those names before doesn't mean they're not absolutely perfect names. Paladin trope in live action, indeed, indeed. No, I need to go buy another tree. It's been ages since I had one. I guess it would have been like 2 years ago, 2.5. Yeah, man, I miss that tree. She was a good tree. Stupid Arkansas weather. My own fault, of course. Your cat brought you a dove? Hardcore. You know, they are so good at being animals, and we are so restrictive with them, you know. And then you just let them get out of your sight for like 10 freaking seconds, and like, oh, by the way, I did a thing. You say, and then just start pulling out the feathers in your bedroom before you could throw it away. You know, sometimes they like to do a little. They like to do a little confetti for you. Confetti. Confettification. The verbing of confetti. Yeah, Angelo. Circling back to the Undertale thing, yeah, I'm actually, like, in the middle of a couple new games at the moment. Or rather, I started playing a couple of them, and so I'm theoretically in the middle of them unless I quit. I've got, like, a lot on my gaming plate. But I've been thinking of going back to Undertale one of these days. It's just... You know, I need a big block of time to do it. I've been very motivated by my Minecraft hardcore world. I've had a lot of ideas and in projects and stuff. I just thought that's so funny. Say your cat hisses an owl everywhere. It says he doesn't know where he's at in the food chain, you know. Sometimes they think they're the boss. Time just gets away from you when you're having fun, right? Well, I really do have to be ending it, I'm afraid. Well, rather than fly over the whole thing since we've done it, we'll just pan out. What have we done today? This little part here? I mean, yeah, that's great. That's great progress, right? Yeah, no, because we did all of that bit, right? Because we were around the water on that side. Yeah, because we started there. So yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. We need to bucket up that water, and then we've just got just this little part of it, and then we'll river that up. Won't take too long. Yeah, you know, we're exactly, Sid, you know, like, because an inventory of wheat, you know, you can get like 3,000 wheat seeds or whatever, and you know, you plant that a couple of times. Almost all the savannah, it's true, because the mountain of wheat is deceptively immense. You know, you can feel when you're on the side of it, you're like, oh, I guess the mountaintop is there, but it's a big old mountain of wheat. And it's all mine. And yours too, of course. The wheat is for all of us. It's, you know, I'm certainly happy to share it with everyone. My silly little obsession. My wonderful little project. I think it's very pretty. I like the rows of the dirt, you know. They're arrayed against the yellow. I like the way that the fog is in the sky. I like how it's a totally normal amount of wheat to plant, and how I will never have to explain to anyone why I wanted to do this. I think it's good. I think it's good. I mean, obviously it's not enough. A few hectares of wheat planted, but it's not enough. Indeed, Angelo. Wheat. But I'm having such a good time You know, this always happens to me. I'm playing video games, and then I'm having a good time, and then I have to like go to bed or to work or eat. Anyway, it's all still very important because this ridiculous human body that I am trapped in has its own requirements, and so too does this ridiculous human society that I am similarly embroiled within. Fortunately, I have my Minecraft society to be in, where I have no such problems. But that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I really hope you've enjoyed. Sorry for all the American healthcare system stuff there. It's a real downer, but no, I don't mind the question. I shouldn't have talked about it so long, because it's a real downer. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Good night, Evan. Good night, Angelo. Good night, Sid. Good night, Natasha. It's been so good to see you guys. But yeah, that's all I've got. This is probably like, 30 minutes longer than I should have been talking, but, the storm outside is probably loud enough to cover it up. But anyway, good night, everyone. See ya.